especially now that we are approaching the moment and the situation in space where printing machines, can do everything, not just text or pictures, but even, material things. Like very soon we'll be able to, in our house, from a simple machine that we can have at home, we'll be able to print clothes, to print shoes, to print cups, to print whatever, So imagine why this technological freedom is being given to humanity for some purposes, to be used freely, So this freedom, this free cultural propagation, it's a consequence. It's a natural consequence of that, that technological, how to say, imperative, a technological imperative. So it's a natural consequence. This is something that the companies, the corporations have to know. I mean, they are creating freedom through the gadgets and machines and tools and instruments that they are creating. So there is no sense in trying to stop it. I mean, it's a built-in element in the whole technological imperative process. There's no way, no escape to that. So movements like Creative Commons, it's just about reason. It's reasoning, the best way of reasoning, the better way of reasoning what the future process is, and the consequences will be.
Yeah, and I think at the same time, you have a reaction towards that, with corporations like Monsanto that are trying to get patents on seeds, Not only do they get patents on seeds that they engineer, now they're taking a bunch of seeds because they haven't been patented yet, and they're patenting seeds of, corn from Mexico and from all over the place, which is completely absurd. They're doing that because they see that the opposite is rising, This collective culture is rising, and they're very, very scared of it, of course, because it's gonna, it's gonna have to change the corporation. They have to, and I think the smart corporations are embracing these ideas.
Definitely.
And I think, with the internet, we're creating something. Obviously there's a lot of crap in the internet, but it also serves as some sort of, collective consciousness of the people that are there. And it allows people to share ideas, projects in a very, instantaneous way. And I think that's something that we need to learn how to use better, to really create, to create and be able to debate what kind of world we want to be living in. And I would like to point out a few other things. I talk about food and the seeds, but another issue is, for instance, with medicine, with pharmaceuticals. As Gil said, the patents originally, they were created so that the person who created, let's say, a drug would be remunerated, but it actually became a machine to remunerate the corporation. And so now, for instance, we have, for many years there was a huge issue with medicine for AIDS in Africa and South America. And actually my father was very involved in fighting to break those patents.
Sure.
And it's a huge thing. So like now, for instance, in Brazil we have something for medicines which are like generic medicine. So when you buy like a product and you think you have to buy that product and it's super expensive, we'll have a generic version of it as well, which is the exact same substance, but at a fifth or a tenth of the cost. So, you know, these types of ideas, they're happening a lot in South America and in other places of the world. They're happening here too. But I think I urge people in this country to really push these ideas further, because it will, it can help, industry, it can help the way we think of technology, it can help areas like Detroit, the car industry that died there. If we have a different approach to, like, for instance, refurbishing cars, we can re-employ these people. But it needs to be a common. It needs to be it needs to be through this open source culture.
Yeah, but Mr. Fuller, he protected his inventions to assure the continuation of the production process of the techno-scientific innovation. The corporations, instead, they protect the patents that they have to assure the continuity of the process of exploration of those innovations. The Bahia collateral effect is blocking the progress of research and development that could be done by third parts, by peers. So the idea of having the peer-to-peer culture is just to enable people to guarantee the exchanging process, to keep the exchanging process something possible, that I can decide, you can decide, she can decide, he can decide, that we have the right to continue to do, through exchanging ideas and processes and tools and everything.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that we've been trying to do with this film, which is very much related with this open source culture, is as we travel with it, we have panels. And that's common in festivals, that you have a filmmaker talking after the film. But instead of just having the filmmakers, I'm having, people featured in the film, some people that are not featured in the film, they're just like community leaders, they're working, making, green roofs in Brooklyn, or they have a biodiesel company, or it's a yoga teacher, and we bring them in to create a debate. So again, instead of just thinking of selling my movie, no, I mean, there's no point. It's too late for that kind of idea. So what we want to do is to open and create a dialogue and a debate so that civil society can organize itself in an open source manner, so that we can debate and talk about what kind of world we want to be living in. So, I think that's an interesting model, and I think I would encourage other filmmakers and other artists to, to start to do that, to start to create town halls, to start to create more dialogue, and start sharing ideas, even in the green movement. As we go around and, as we went around interviewing people, I felt that a lot of people, like, they work and they're very isolated, like, oh, my invention, and I'm here working on 20 years in this thing, and they're so disconnected and so over-specialized that they're not looking at, the connections in between the different professions and how they have to be complementary. We became so overly specialized that, architects don't talk to, to people that are biologists, so that we could, figure out a way to build homes where we can grow food on the top, and so forth. There needs to be more of a dialogue. There needs to be more connection, and I feel it's starting to happen. But even today, and I would argue that even here, still, the people in the progressive movement, they're still very busy, like, criticizing one another. They'll find something, like, for instance, in my film, we talk about shamanism and ayahuasca. So some people will, like, grab onto that, it's like, oh, you guys are promoting psychedelics, and they will destroy it, and they will neglect to look at all the other things that we're talking about. And that happens throughout this movement. And while, the establishment is organized in a very hierarchical way, and it is for a reason, because it's based on greed and extracting resources to the top. The people in the progressive movement, they're too busy criticizing one another. So like, I encourage people to look at what we have in common. Look at the common again, so that we can progress, to the next level of consciousness.